so this explains everything. It's a pretty good summary of PR and the issues and all. Yeah, no, it's a pretty good tablet. There's a copy of it on Mars as well.
Okay, folks. I'm happy to introduce to you Pat McGrail, who's coming to speak to us from Fair Vote Canada on electoral reform and the alternative electoral systems. And that's all I'm going to say. And I hope we all learned something about it. And I'm going to argue with it at some point. I know that. I always do, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, please, Pat.
Okay.
And maybe you can speak and tell me when you want to see the PowerPoint or the
Okay,
video.
all right. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm always pleased to talk about electoral reform and getting the message out to the public is really our biggest problem. If we don't have a government that's going to go promote electoral reform, it's left to citizens basically to do that. So we welcome any opportunity to get out and talk about it. Fair Vote Canada is a grassroots citizens organization where we have chapters across the country. We've been in place since about 2000. And we're basically volunteer run. We have a couple of paid employees that do some administrative work and promotion, but we're volunteers by and large. We're funded by members' donations. So we welcome any chance to get out and talk to people. I'm going to start out, we're a small group, so I kind of want to adapt it to what you're most interested in. But I've got a short video on one of the...
Can you go back so we can get
Sure.
more light on your face?
Oh, okay. I've got a short video on one of the proportional systems. It's 3 or 4 minutes, which gives us a good overview. There's basically, there's 2 families of voting systems. There's winner-take-all systems, or majoritarian systems, and there's proportional systems. And when we talk about proportional representation, we're not talking about a particular voting system. We're talking about a family of voting systems that allow seats in government to be in proportion to the popular vote. So that's basically, it's a fairly simple concept, proportional representation is. And you can achieve it in a number of ways. There's different systems that you can get there to achieve it. Fair Vote Canada, our sole reason for being basically is to promote proportional representation at every level of government. We don't have any favored systems. We've helped develop a number of systems, and when we made a presentation recently to the Electoral Reform Committee, we presented 3 different systems that we thought could be used in Canada, very well in Canada, and we'd be happy with any one of those 3 systems or something there's close to it. We're of the opinion that we can actually have a made in Canada system, learn from the experiences of other countries, and develop something that fits Canada's unique situation. And to that end, we actually have developed at least one system for that purpose. So STB is one of these proportional systems, and so this is a short video on it that kind of also examines the concept of proportionality and why we need it. So I'll leave it to...
This is a quick overview of how to improve an election process by adopting a version of proportional representation called STV, or single transferable voting. Proportional representation means that the number of seats a party gets is proportional to its share of the popular vote. So if a party gets 30% of the popular vote, it gets about 30% of the seats in government. Over 80% of OECD democracies have adopted some form of PR. Look at Europe. All the countries in green use PR. The only 2 5-star options for electoral reform are variations of STD and variations of MMP. The unfairness of our present system is the result of winner-take-all single-member ridings. to run more than one candidate, which allows voters to decide who they prefer. Voters would fill out ballots with 1, 2, 3 preferences. Voters can choose candidates from different parties and rank as few or as many as they wish. STD is flexible. More rural regions might have ridings with only 2 or 3 MPs, while more urban regions might have 5 or more. Or, a few regional seats might be added to boost proportionality to near perfection. We can modify STD to create a Made in Canada election system. With STD in place, election outcomes will be fairer. Almost every vote will count. Almost everyone will have a local rep who shares their values. Collaboration will increase. More women and minorities will be elected, and more diverse views will be represented. To see how counting will work, watch the video from Ireland. To learn more about STD, visit stdforcanada.com.
That's it, we can put on the slides now. Okay, you can probably flip through the first. There we go.
For some reason, this one doesn't work. I'll try the PowerPoint version. Do I mean go through them or do you want
Sure, you can flip through the first couple. I think I've talked. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the Liberal campaign promise back in 2015 was that 2015 would be the last election under first past the post. Trudeau made that statement in Brampton, actually, at a very large assembly, and since then he's repeated it over 1,800 times. And this is exactly the promise. They didn't promise proportional representation. What they promised was an all-party parliamentary committee to examine several reforms, including ranked ballots and proportional representation, and within 18 months bring in legislation to end first past the post.
I think that we go through it fast and then you can talk.
Okay.
Because this is going to restore itself.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't bring a copy of the slides with me. I was just going.
Look on that. You can have this problem before.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about what has happened since. I mean, not only did the Liberals make a promise for electoral reform, the Greens and the NDP were also in favor of electoral reform. So, in fact, we had parties representing almost 65% of the popular vote, which promised electoral reform in the last election. And in fact, the Liberals did institute that all-party parliamentary committee. They did so last June, and it was a very unique committee in that the members on the committee were in proportion to the popular vote, and the Liberals did not have control of that committee. So it was quite a unique committee, and high hopes that they would reach some sort of consensus around electoral reform. They heard over 100 witnesses, and I don't know how many individuals testified. They were in 17 or 18 cities, and groups of people come to testify, and then there was over 200 written submissions as well. There was no media whatsoever around what was happening with the committee, so most of the population didn't know anything about it. They were asked to present a report to Parliament on December the 1st, and the report was somewhat contentious because there was the Liberal members presented a supplementary report that was more or less contrary to what the other three parties had agreed to.
We're back.
We're back. Okay. All right. Okay. So, as I said, we advocate for proportional representation. We believe that first past the post does not represent the wishes of voters and results in a parliament that does not adequately represent the voters and discourages cooperation. And we'll go through those points in a little more detail. And you can kick over to the next one. Okay, so how do we elect the parliament that Canadians want? And when we are assessing a system, you can go ahead. Yeah, these are the things that we'll be looking at, what other systems other countries are using, how the systems work, and do these systems deliver the parliament that we want. Okay, these are the criteria that we use in looking at voting systems to see whether they should meet the needs of citizens, and they're quite a bit. They're quite similar to the criteria that the Minister of Democratic Institutions gave to the Electoral Reform Committee. So fair representation, meaning more or less proportionality, that the Parliament should look like, it should be in proportion to the votes, should reflect Canada. We should have diversity within Parliament that reflects the population. Voter equality, every vote should be equal. We now have a system where every person gets a vote, but votes are count vastly differently depending on where you live. Local representation is something that Canadians have always said that they wanted. An MP that they can relate to. Good governance, of course, is something that Canadians want, and accountability. Okay. So as I said, there's basically two, you can go ahead and push them. There's basically two family systems, the winner-take-all systems and proportional systems. Under winner-take-all systems are our first-past-the-post system that we use and alternative vote. Now, alternative vote is probably not a term that you're familiar with, but what it is winner-take-all ranked ballots. So when you hear people talk about ranked ballots, the more proper term is actually alternative vote. And the reason to make the distinction is because ranked ballots are just ballots, and you can actually add ranked ballot to any system, including a proportional system. And as you saw with the video, STV is an example of a proportional system that has ranked ballots. So alternative vote is the winner-take-all version of first past the post. Basically, all it is adding a ranked ballot to first past the post. And under the proportional systems, the ones that we're going to talk about are the multi-member, which is basically STV. So you have larger ridings with many MPs within one riding, and you'll have MNP is the second mixed member. Where in the mixed member being that you have some constituency MPs and you have some regional MPs. So who is using what? There's almost 90 countries around the world using a proportional system, and as I mentioned, 85% of OECD countries use a proportional system. So there's very few using first past the post. In Western countries, there's Canada, the US, and UK. Australia uses alternative vote for its lower house, but it uses STV for its Senate. So it has kind of a blend. It doesn't work out too well down there because the Senate is quite powerful actually, and often blocks legislation from the House below. So they have quite a bit of problem with gridlock down there. You can go on to the next. Yeah. France uses a winner-take-all system called two-round. So it's kind of like alternative vote. They have one election and then they take the people from the top and then they have a second election. But it's a winner-take-all system. And the basic distinction between proportional systems and winner-take-all systems is the number of members per riding. That's really the basic distinction. That's what creates the proportionality, as having more than one member per riding. With the demonstration you saw in the video with the red chips and the blue chips and the yellow chips, the basic problem with winner-take-all systems are the riding boundaries. They act like silos, and so many votes don't count. They never elect anyone. So that's the basic problem. So that's the basic distinction between proportional and winner-take-all, is the number of members per riding. Yeah, so these, you can see the countries that have multi-member and those which have mixed member. We were talking earlier about Germany having MMP, which is a mixed member system. Scotland has MMP. I believe that Wales uses MMP as well. Ireland uses STV. There's not a lot of countries that use STV, Ireland being the one that comes to mind. These other multi-member systems, other countries, are using some form of more pure proportionality, so there's not necessarily a member in the riding. Holland being one of those. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the first past the post. You can go on to the next slide. That's what we use now, and as you're probably familiar, in each riding, the candidate with the largest number of votes wins. And this is the results from the 2015 election, which was actually more proportional than other elections that we've had. But what you can see is that the votes aren't in proportion to the seats. So, for example, the Liberals got 54% of the seats and only 40% of the votes. The Conservatives, fairly proportional. The NDP are quite shy of seats in proportion to their votes. The Bloc is fairly proportional. And of course the Greens, they get 3% of the votes, but only one seat. Okay. This is a common thing in Canada. We have more false majorities than we have true majorities. In fact, there's only ever been 4 true majorities since World War II. I think the last one was in 1984. So we more often have governments with 100% of the power, but not a majority of the votes. Other things that can happen under this system, in New Brunswick, we end up with no opposition whatsoever. The Liberals got 60% of the votes and took all of the seats, so effectively you have no opposition. In other provincial elections we've had some really screwy things happen where the party that got the second place in votes actually formed a majority. So you ended up with a government that, well, certainly had less than a majority, but had fewer votes than the opposition. But they ended up with the majority of seats just because of where their votes were located. So we've had that instance happen 2 or 3 times. Okay, I had some other slides in there. Are
Did I
you,
miss something?
yeah, okay, well, I can go on. I'm just thinking that he's got the right PowerPoint presentation.
That's, okay, we go past this one?
Okay, sure. Yes, okay. So under most winner-take-all systems, you'll have, a good chunk of the voters who elected no one. In Canada, there was 51% of all votes cast in the last election elected no one. And that's because of these silos. And you could see from the demonstration in the video, you could see how that happened. So many votes, if you don't vote for the front runner in your own riding, your vote basically drops off the table and it's never counted. And this is true, it's usually about that mix in all winner-take-all systems. Okay, no, this is it, okay.
Oh, okay.
It was just out of, okay, so, and this shows the numbers. We had, out of 17 million votes cast, 8 million actually elected an MP. That left 9 million that elected no one. And of that 9 million, 4 million were cast for Liberal MPs. So basically, the Liberal government it's got its 100% power based on 4 million votes out of the 17 million that were cast. And a very small shift in votes can change the election results dramatically. So this is another thing that we see. It's really hard to predict elections for that very reason, because a small shift in votes can swing seats quite dramatically. One of the things that happens under winner-take-all is that if you have parties with a geographical concentration, they get a lot more seats. So this is one of the reasons the Bloc back in 1993 became the official opposition. They got, I forget the numbers, but they got a lot more seats than the Conservatives at that time, the progressive Conservatives, who actually had a lot more votes. But it's because of the geographic concentration. And that's also what gives rise to the regional parties under first past the post. That's why you get the West that looks like it's all conservative, or you get the East that looks like it's all liberal. Actually votes are a lot more even across the country than it appears, because this first past the post system actually concentrates parties into regional areas.
Isn't that slide a little bit deceptive? The Liberals actually got 7 million votes, right?
What's that?
That slide's a little deceptive. The Liberals actually got 7 million votes, roughly.
That's probably true. I don't, that number's not up there. The point is that in the ridings where Liberals became
Yeah, no, I
MPs.
know how you can calculate.
Okay.
But
Yeah, no, they did get 7
it
million.
makes the case not worse than it actually is. 40% of the people who voted Liberal.
That's right.
No,
Yes, you're quite right, 7 million. But they got, 54% of the seats, and the votes for that 54% of the seats was 4 million, basically, yeah.
It's the states was already put, so you live underneath it, it's not gonna respond. Bring them on next time. Check. So I don't know what you're suggesting. Well, all I'm just saying is before we underneath here, the sensors are on the back and the front. It's like it goes.
Maybe that's a good time to stop it, because I'm 1 minute off from the